Hey guys, Benjamin Spack here again, doing another resume review. This time we're taking a look at Waqar Mohammad's resume, and I'm also going to do a portfolio review that someone else had provided, uh, but I'm going to put that in a separate video and probably put that on my own channel. I'm going to reserve the resume reviews directly for my channel and for resyndication on freeCodeCamp. Okay, so I have this basic intake form set up. You guys can find the link to this in the description as well. And basically, I just have a little disclaimer saying, hey, make sure you're removing phone numbers, your address, email address from your resume, unless you're comfortable with the email address being included. And Waqar did that, so that's great. You know, he does have his email address and he's comfortable sharing that. Let's see, and then he also wanted to share his Twitter profile, GitHub, what he's interested in, and which industry he's interested in. Okay, didn't fill out an industry, but that's fine. Let's see, he wants to be a junior web developer. And okay, we have his social media profile here for Twitter. So I'm just going to go ahead and open all these up. We also got GitHub. So we're going to do a resume review. I'm going to take a quick look at his portfolio site, but not really focus on it because that's not the focus of this video. And then that's just a link to our resume. Cool. Just going to take a look. I do like that the contact info is up here. I dig the layout. Nice, thick horizontal lines. Same thing with the text used. And great contrast of text colors as well. You know, definitely with the orange getting all of the pertinent details popping out, and different font faces. Love that. Great design. Overall, really dig the layout. Let's see. Yeah, so overall, love the layout. Let's just go from the top. So let's see. As a highly motivated and results-oriented manager within the tech field, I have a proven track record of providing exemplary levels of service along with high quality technical and digital content strategy. Yeah, I think that that's a solid intro. One thing I think I would maybe focus on a little bit more is highlighting some examples of high technical quality. Um, you know, you mentioned a proven track record, so perhaps put in some metrics there. But I'll continue reviewing the resume and then we'll get back to that. Same thing, let's see, digital content strategy. I would recommend maybe some digital content projects that you've worked on, listing those, or perhaps listing different types of, let's say, digital marketing, like search engine optimization, for example, or conversion rate optimization, or analytics, something a little bit more specific to include concrete details. Again, I think a lot of people may disagree with me on this, but I definitely think that you should have longer than just a one pager. I think you should have, and this is just personal opinion, have your relevant skills kind of near the top, relevant projects near the top, especially if you're a junior dev. You don't really want to be leading in with experience that doesn't necessarily tie into the web development job that you're seeking. Ideally, I would, you know, like in this publish article section, have a few of your GitHub repositories or projects and have those kind of near the top, maybe under the overview in between experience. Yeah, probably in between experience, and then maybe move articles up a little bit. Because honestly, in my experience, a lot of recruiters that I've worked with and hiring managers haven't really ever asked about my education or skills. The only exception to that is they'll just say, hey, do you have a 4-year degree? But they never ask, where's the 4-year degree from? They never ask, what's your GPA? So one thing to keep in mind there, I would recommend putting your education and skills near the bottom and highlighting your projects. Because essentially you want to be saying to the hiring manager, look, this is the work that I've done. I can complete projects, and here are the projects that I've completed. So definitely, you know, check them out and you know, showcase your work that way. Anyway, I feel like I've kind of covered that quite a bit. So let's see. We have Signature Design Consultants Ltd, company director. Okay, providing consultancy and technical support to SME. Not sure what that means. On digital and web strategy for web and mobile applications and digital marketing. Okay, well, out of curiosity, this isn't something a hiring manager or anyone like that is probably going to do. Again, I mentioned they only uh, review a resume for probably about, I would say, 30 seconds or so, if you're lucky. Okay, so this probably stands for small and medium-sized enterprises or small and medium-sized businesses. Cool, cool. Got that. Instead of putting SME, I would recommend maybe listing a couple of clients that you're proud of working with. You know, a couple, maybe say two medium-sized businesses and one small-sized business. Just use that general rule of three to really market to people's mindset and kind of short-term memory, so that those few clients that you've worked with stick in their memory. I would also elaborate on consultancy and technical support. Like, what sort of projects did you consult on? What kind of technical support did you provide? And I know you mentioned web and mobile applications and digital strategy, but I would recommend mentioning one, some of the clients that you worked with, as I mentioned, and two, some of the projects that you worked on for those clients. So again, you're just really highlighting the projects and work that you've done. Like I said, I really do like the layout, really do like the use of fonts, and I really do like the color contrast that you've used. Okay, and then total airport marketing consultant. Make it past tense and kind of break this up, because this is just kind of one like run-on sentence. You could either break it out into a couple of different ways to display it. You could break it out into, say, bullet points, like say there's a bullet point, and then that next part is a bullet point for training, and then the other one is the amount of sales that you did. Then boom, you got 3 solid bullet points. You're using the rule of 3, and then you're also providing your facts and figures. It's easy to read and it's in past tense. So yeah, overall, I think good content in there can be reworded a little bit, and instead of doing these kind of like run-on sentences where you're trying to smush everything together, just break them out into bullet points. It'll be easier for people to skim. Let's see. Stansbury Supermarkets, department manager. Okay, cool. So I imagine here you're trying to highlight some of your managerial experience. I'm looking at it now, and this is October 2013 was the endpoint, and we're already in November of 18. Typically, I wouldn't list anything later than 5 years ago in the past. So honestly, I would recommend just removing this, adding a little bit more, allowing it to free up a little bit more space, and then, as I mentioned earlier, providing some of those projects that you've worked on and listing that there. As you can notice, you can probably spot a trend here. I'm just trying to highlight projects, skimmability. Okay, cool. And then you have some of your skills, web-related skills. Now, I understand probably why you kept it this way. You wanted to make it clean and skimmable. Yeah, honestly, I would recommend adding in more skills here. Strike that balance between keyword stuffing. Now, if you're not familiar with the phrase, keyword stuffing is basically just that, taking these keywords or these phrases and putting in things that are relevant to the audience that you want to get in front of, and then just kind of peppering a bunch of those in, putting a bunch of those in. So I would recommend writing down some other technologies that you've worked with, like CSS, great, but maybe put CSS and then CSS3. If you've worked with Sass, I would also put in Sass, a CSS preprocessor. If you worked with HTML, I would also put in HTML5. Also, anything that goes along with Laravel, since that is a PHP framework, I would recommend putting in PHP. Putting in any package managers that go with that. I believe that's Symfony, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing with JavaScript. If you've messed a little bit with Node, you've messed a little bit with React, go ahead and list those. You want to be transparent, and you don't want to lie about the amount of experience that you have with a particular technology. You also, though, want to make sure that you're giving yourself a running start. You're making sure that you're giving yourself a decent chance of getting in front of the right people, listing every technology, especially when you're starting out, listing every technology that you've touched. It's marketing. Cool. And this is where you highlight on PPC, SEO, SEM, and digital content. Okay, so that's what you alluded to up here. Yeah, so let's go back to the overall overview here. So as I mentioned, you may want to put in, pick one or two of these that you feel that you're the strongest with, and pepper those in and kind of put those about your overview. I feel like we've covered the resume pretty well. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up these articles. Yeah, this is good. I mean, it does show your kind of political slant, as it mentions down here, business models, politics. It also shows your interest in entrepreneurship and kind of by proxy your interest in the entertainment sector, which is fantastic. I think, though, as I mentioned, I would probably save this for your cover letter, because on your cover letter, that's where you really want to showcase your personality and other aspects of what make you up as an individual. Whereas the resume is more so just kind of the down and dirty. Here's what I can do. Here's what I have done. That sort of thing. Your experience, your skills, your projects. Like a few different articles that I think kind of show your personality in general. So I would say one about kind of startup culture, one about social media, and then one about, say, security. Then that will kind of give a decent holistic view of the things you're interested in, and with those, you just pick the best ones and present those at the top of your cover letter. But since you have two profiles, you have this one here. This one's political, politics, religion. I would just avoid that in general and go with this. This looks like a solid, code-related profile. You were saying you were a lawyer previously, and now you're focused on software engineering. You like JavaScript and Laravel. Perfect. This is what hiring managers really like to see. And you can even include this in your cover letter, and you can elaborate on that a little bit with a couple more sentences if you want, because people love that. They know that lawyers are diligent. They know that you have to be focused. You have to study hard. I'm not sure if you had to pass some sort of a bar exam or some sort of a like entry level exam. But that's also another thing you can kind of put out there. There's usually a good connotation associated with lawyers. And this is good. You have a sense of humor. If I were a hiring manager, I'd want to see that. And I think you had shared this with me today. This is you on Dev 2. And you're basically talking about the frustration between learning I think it was a solid language and learning a framework. And you also have decent engagement here with some of the commentors, which is fantastic. This would be an article, honestly, that I would also put on your cover letter. The HR professional isn't going to probably look at that. The hiring manager is more than likely going to be looking at tech-related content that you do share, especially on Twitter. Okay, and you're also staying culturally relevant to the overall developer community. You're talking about Hacktoberfest. Could be part, but felt like I couldn't this year. Not only did I take part, but I bagged a t-shirt. Oh, okay, so you did actually complete it. Yeah, dude, so highlight that too. I mean, like that keeps you relevant, that helps tell a story. It shows that you're interested in open source. That again goes to some of the projects. Like highlight some of those open source projects on your resume. The HR professionals may not fully understand what you're working on, but if they see those projects, they'll at least have a general idea. Okay, this guy can do something. Let's get this in front of a hiring manager and get a second opinion, get an informed opinion. And then when the hiring manager sees it, and he sees that you contribute to open source, and he sees that you're culturally relevant to DigitalOcean and Hacktoberfest, and you're overall in the larger ecosystem of development and you're engaged, that's going to earn you a lot of brownie points. But yeah, altogether, man, I love this Twitter account. Definitely highlight the open source projects that you worked on. Definitely highlight your sense of humor, and I would say definitely highlight your accomplishments with Hacktoberfest, because that's no easy task. So great job with that. You have your portfolio. We're just going to take a quick look at this. Okay, so you have your social media links. I'm not going to click through those. Click on here. Awesome. That's nice and responsive. Nice layout. Okay, easily organized. Different use of color like that. Talking about your focus. Okay, cool. CRUD APIs in Laravel framework, and then you're talking about creating 3 applications, CRUD and APIs. Yeah, there you go, dude. Like that's some of your summary. That's some of your project bullet points. Like seriously, boom, you got a highlight right there. You know, that's your highlight reel, man. You got to put that on display, front and center on your resume. Um, okay, cool. And you're also talking about doing blogging and basic video tutorials. Yeah, then you can basically use this as your highlight reel to kind of start off the section for your articles on your cover letter. Okay, and then you're also talking about your work with freeCodeCamp. You're talking about your future goals. Fantastic. As a junior developer, people are really going to want to see that you still have plans to continue to grow and continue to improve yourself, and that you're worth the investment of time and money that they're putting into hiring you as a junior asset. Definitely include something like that in your cover letter. And I know this is controversial. I would recommend including the photo in your cover letter or in your resume. Some people will strongly disagree with me on that, but I think it's worthwhile. Maybe get one that's facing directly towards the camera, and maybe wear like something relatively professional. But overall, this would be a fine photo as well. Okay, but again, yeah, highlight reel, man. Projects you've worked on, put them front and center on that resume. Okay, and yep, you also have a portfolio. Looks like all of this is pertaining to the freeCodeCamp challenges. Cool. But yeah, I would definitely recommend putting in some highlights of the open source projects that you contributed to for Hacktoberfest. Okay, and then you have the contact me. Cool, and that's nice and simple. Yeah, in terms of the layout of this, love it, man. Nice and responsive. This is definitely something I would also highlight in your resume, probably near the top with some social media links. And if you want to double down on that, also highlight that on your cover letter, because you want to get these projects and these bullet points that you've worked hard on in front of the hiring manager and the HR professional. Cool. It looks like you are highlighting things that you actually have worked on here and making use of the popular repositories. So that's great. You do have a fairly active graph here. That's nice to see. And cool. And then here are some of the pull requests that you're working on for Hacktoberfest with freeCodeCamp. And these other profiles I'm not too familiar with. But yeah, definitely, as I mentioned, highlight those. I think we've covered all the bases. I just want to thank you for sharing this resume. I know it's can be a bit nerve-wracking to not only share your resume with someone else and not only share your social media presence with someone else, but to share it with my audience and everyone on freeCodeCamp. So, hey, big shout out to Waqar Mohammad for sharing his some of his contact info. Guys, definitely reach out to him. His social media links are in the description below. Give him some kudos if you really like his portfolio as much as I did. Give him some kudos on this layout. He did a great job. Same thing with the color contrast and font use. Solid, man. I really dig it. So yeah, you got a few things that you can punch up, make this a little bit more skimmable, add in some more skills, maybe push these articles to your cover letter, highlight some of the other work that you've done. But I did do a deep dive, and it looks like you've put in the work. You have solid content out there, and you have a decent head for design and for layout. You just need to make it pop and showcase those skills and projects a little bit more, and I think you'll be a shoo-in for landing your first junior developer position, or maybe one of your first if you've already landed a junior dev role. So yeah, thanks again. My name is Benjamin Spack. If you'd like me to review your resume, review your portfolio, a link is in the description to sign up. The sign up form will look pretty much just like this, and you put in your email address, your name, social media links, what you're looking for, what industry you want to work in, and the more info you provide, the more info I can tailor this video to, and the more value I can try to provide you. Alright guys, well this video is running long. Thank you for hanging in if you watched to the end. Thanks for checking out Free Code Camp, and also check out my channel, Benjamin Spack on YouTube. Thanks guys, have a good one.